The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, Jesus said to his apostles, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man or woman against his father or mother, and a daughter or son against his or her mother and father, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's foes will be those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. He who loves a son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. He who does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. He who receives a prophet because he is a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he who receives a righteous man because he is a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives to one of these little ones even a cup of cold water because he is a disciple, truly I say to you, he shall not lose his reward." When Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in their cities. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
There's a time when we must speak out. Often, when we are in a difficult situation, we will think twice before we speak, which is a very good thing to do. But often when we are having an internal conversation with ourselves as how to approach a certain dilemma, we can often strategize in such a way that we feel, no, it would be safer to say nothing. Well, I think this is the challenge today. When is it really safer to say nothing? And when do we have to say something, even if it means there's going to be conflict or there's going to be unhappiness? Because today what our Lord Jesus is saying is that we must prioritize that when we're talking about the gospel, that must become the most important thing, regardless of the consequences of what our family and friends might think of us. And I know for myself, there are many times there was an opportunity and I didn't take it. And so today we are challenged to speak up. You know, we have just been told last night that alcohol has now been banned again. And there is much talk about the alcohol and the banning, and talk about why we shouldn't be allowed to go and buy alcohol. Alcohol is not the problem. It's the misuse of the alcohol. And it's not the government that can control that. It is the general population. Why is it that we as a population do not speak out against the people who abuse that alcohol? Why do we continually allow people who get drunk and drive to get away with what they are doing? Because that is the reason why the alcohol is being banned. It is the abuse. And these people who abuse the alcohol live in our own homes. and yet we somehow turn a blind eye or say very little. We don't act with tough love. I've seen this in my own family, and in the experience that I have with working with drug addicts. It seems that the sooner the family stand up with tough love, the better chance the addict has of dealing with his addiction. But the continual, I'm sorry, yes, it's okay, making excuses when we know the person is stealing and getting drunk, and we just let them continue, is the reason why we land up in a situation like we have now. Let's ban alcohol. But shouldn't we be dealing on a one-to-one basis with the people who are getting drunk and causing disruption? And there are many other areas of our lives where we simply sit back because we feel afraid. Well, dear people, we are going, as you know, into a very, very serious time that we've never lived through before. We've been speaking about it, but now we're going to be living in it. Maybe some of us who are listening to this video will be dead within the next 2 months because we could not get into a hospital with a ventilator. That is a possibility, and a very real one. I'm talking about within the next 2 months. And yet I criticized myself because when I went shopping on Sunday, not a good day to go shopping, I noticed a crowd of people talking, young people. None of them were wearing a mask. Some didn't even have a mask visible. And I had an opportunity to go up to them and politely ask them to please put on their masks. What am I waiting for? What are we waiting for? There is a time to speak up, and our Gospels tell us that we must speak up when it is the right time to do it. Maybe we're speaking about the wrong things, like the banning of alcohol, and not the right things. About the people that you and I know abuse alcohol, drive when they are drunk, and cause great chaos in our communities. The people who criticize our government and criticize leaders and have lots to say about lots of other things, but with the simple things that we are asked to do, like wear a mask, we don't confront. When it comes to faith, is it the same for us? That when we know we should encourage people, ask people, challenge people not to be blasphemous, not to criticize people who are doing right, people who are trying to love and show kindness, are we keeping quiet when we should be speaking out? That's the message of our gospel today. And I think in our particular time now, more relevant than ever. Let's be careful when we speak. And let's be careful that when we speak the truth. And we speak the message of Jesus Christ. Because that is what will save us. Amen.